You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's wife, Emmy Award. Many of you will be familiar with the novel by Peter Benchley that was turned into a film, Jaws, about a shark that terrorized the community, which led to Chief Brody going out there to try and catch it and being told, you're going to need a bigger boat. Of course, you may also remember that it was taglined just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water. Well, there was that ominous theme, I think by John Williams, wasn't it? Dun, 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 dun. Yes, well, we may as well play that theme, because just when you thought that the Sussexes were imploding with the recent bad news for them from Spotify, the likelihood that Netflix are going to say ta-ra to them, and the associated financial woes that come from that, along comes the Express gallivanting interview to tell us Harry and Harry's wife tipped to win Emmy. What nonsense is this? Yes, they claim that they're going to win an Emmy for groundbreaking Netflix series, Slamming the Royals. Could this be the renaissance that they require? Could this be the defibrillator that's applied to them to get their heart beating again, to cause them to come rushing back to life, enabling them to continue to do what they need to do? Could this be their saviour? I hear your collective groan. You thought, they're circling the drain now, gurgling away, getting faster and faster as they spin into obscurity. Spotify have got rid. They've been called fucking grifters. Harry's wife has been stated as having no talent. It's been described as Harry has nothing to say and nobody's interested in what she has to say. It's not looking good for them. They're going to eventually, in the not too distant future, disappear down the plug of obscurity, or the plug hole of obscurity. But then, with the Express claiming that they're going to get an Emmy, is this a stay of execution for them? Callie Brooks and Paul Withers write, Harry's wife and Prince Harry have been tipped for a nomination at the Emmy Awards for their groundbreaking documentary series on Netflix. Naturally, winning an award would be positive fuel for Harry's wife and a residual benefit. She would also look to leverage off that to say, look, we've created content that won an Emmy Award, therefore you should work with us further. Now, to my mind, that's a little bit like having a difficult footballer who's managed to win the World Cup. That footballer's probably got talent, and therefore you would say, well, he's won the World Cup, he's got talent, we'll take him on because he's demonstrated the talent in winning. What has to be remembered, that if, and it remains a big if they were to win an Emmy Award, it relates to apparently the category of a documentary or non-fiction series, which to my mind is a misnomer, because since it was the lived experience of Harry's wife, a lot of it's rooted in the fiction of her delusion, isn't it? But also, just because you've got an Emmy for that, ordinarily people would go, well, you've won an Emmy. Wow, you've got talent. Then, yeah, we'd like to work with you. But often you may not know a huge amount about that individual beyond the fact that they've won an Emmy and some of their projects. But with Harry's wife, the problem is this. She might, and it's only a might, win an Emmy, but that's against the backdrop of, yes, but what else have you done? What else have you got? And people knowing that she only won that as a consequence of her talking about herself and a series that can't be replicated. Nobody's going to be interested in a volume 3 or 4 of what has been produced, having already treated us to volumes 1 and 2. People will look at it and go, but you've got nothing that you can actually create. You didn't create content. All you did was be yourself, in effect. And sure, that's won you an Emmy. but there's nothing else in the locker. So whilst Harry's wife, if, and I repeat, if she wins this award, is going to receive positive fuel for doing so, and will see it as vindication of her ability, anybody else looking at it would say, okay, so you won it for that program, but you're not going to be able to replicate that program, and you're certainly not going to be able to create anything else that's Emmy worthy, because we all know you haven't got any talent. Why? Because we've seen that you haven't got any talent, and we've seen the way that two major platforms have decided you're not for us. Thus, if she wins this Emmy, it might cause her to believe that she's turned a corner, but for everybody else, it's not going to. They'll see straight through it as it basically being a bauble hung on a turd. But apparently they've been tipped for this, and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, of course, signed a multi-year deal, the Express tells us. Their show, Harry and Harry's Wife, has been tipped for a nomination for the Emmy nomination in the documentary or non-fiction series category. The 6-part series smashed viewership records, and therefore the show could earn itself an Emmy Award. Mark Boardman, a showbiz writer and media commentator who is entertainment editor at Mark Meets, told Daily Express US, "I've never been to the Emmys, but how it works is that the panel will be extremely familiar with every possible nominee. There is no smoke without fire, and to me, I feel there is a good chance that there's a win, and a definite chance they'll be nominated because it will give the Emmy Awards a lot of press attention on that." Well, if that's what the Emmy Awards are after, just nominate them, but don't allow them to win it. Based on viewing figures alone, it has to be nominated for being groundbreaking television. Was it? It was so open and honest, really, and this will be of great standing for Netflix. There's a lot standing on Netflix investment if it doesn't win, but the award would carry huge status for them. He continued, "There's definitely every chance there is a win for Harry, Harry's Wife in Netflix, and I'm 100% confident it will get nominated. I've looked at all of the possible categories, and it is the most high-profile documentary series within that category. So it has to be there. Even though the nominations have not yet officially been revealed, it just adds to Harry and Harry's Wife's enduring appeal." Boardman added, if Harry and Harry's Wife indeed do win an Emmy, they could pocket an eye-watering sum, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars through an exclusive deal with Netflix. He believes to do that, the couple would have to start making real-life documentaries meeting people, following in the footsteps of Harry's late mother, Princess Diana. I see this view as completely incorrect. Netflix knows what they've been dealing with, and if they win an Emmy, the likely reaction of Netflix is, well, that's all well and good, jolly good, we have another Netflix program that's won an Emmy, but we're going to quit while we're ahead, thank you very much, because we know these two are fucking useless. We know that they've nothing interesting now to say. We know that they've no talent for other content, and we're certainly not going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on them, unleashing them on other people, meeting them, asking stupid questions, and generally Harry's wife just talking about herself. When asked how much money the Sussexes could make if they win an Emmy Award, Boardman replied, over the years, they would be able to pocket anything between £250 million and £300 million in an exclusive deal, but only if they can find the right project for them. I would suggest that Mr. Boardman is talking utter shite. A book is out of the question unless Harry's wife wants to go down that route, but they're going to have to start making, a bit like what Diana was trying to do, real-life documentaries meeting people. That would win back the hearts and minds, especially from the British public, and would give Netflix a year's worth of content. I don't think this individual truly knows the level of distaste that exists for them. It would cost them a fortune to produce episode after episode, but that's the sort of legacy Diana would have wanted the boys to have left behind. Money-wise, Netflix would not let go of them. As long as they are performing, you're going to keep throwing money at them, and this is what will happen only if an award win happens. Again, I simply do not see this as credible. Why? Because even if there is an award that is won, they know what they're dealing with. And they know that they're not going to be able to replicate anything else in terms of the viewing success that they achieved. And if Netflix are savvy, they will also recognise that much of the viewership was from people who don't like the Sussexes. Now, Netflix won't really care about that at the time, But they will care about it because in the future, people will become less interested in watching them. There's a possibility, therefore, they will be nominated for an Emmy. It doesn't seem to my mind that they're guaranteed to win it, and even if they do, I certainly do not agree with this suggestion that it's going to lead to a reprieve for them for Netflix. On that basis, you can all now breathe a sigh of relief. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.